Hi guys, I'm Jared, and today we're talking about what's new in board gaming as of November 5th, 2021. I'll be covering the latest news, announcements, most played games, hot new Kickstarters and crowdfunded games, and more related to board gaming for the past 2 weeks. At the end, I'll also be sharing what's going on behind the scenes with my YouTube channel, Meeple Mentor. So stick around, we've got a lot to cover. Leave me a like and comment on what kinds of updates that you want to hear more about. To make sure you don't miss my news updates, new video tutorials, and our podcast episodes, be sure to subscribe on YouTube and your preferred streaming platform. For crowdfunding games right now, on the GameFound platform, you'll find the hotly anticipated Elder Scrolls V Skyrim the Adventure game. It's a 1 to 4 player cooperative game with hundreds of hours of gameplay, with a game session averaging about an hour and a half to 2 hours. The game changes with each chapter you play and decisions you make. There's several expansions being offered as well as the base game. If you're looking for the best way to experience the Skyrim video game on your tabletop, this is what you want. Also now on GameFound is Crossroads Inn, the board game, based on the PC game. It's for 2 to 4 players ages 12 and up and plays in 2 hours. Compete against other innkeepers to run your tavern and pursue fame and gold. Develop the tavern interiors, services, and menus. Fulfill guests' demands no matter their social class. Looking now at Kickstarter games, Steamforged Games is funding a new Resident Evil board game, this time based on the first game of the series. It's a 1 to 4 player cooperative survival zombie board game following the story of the video game. It features lots of miniatures, cards, and tokens. Explore the open world of the Spencer Mansion, finding keys to make your way forward. Another monstrous board game is funding, called Monster Apocalypse for 1 to 4 players from Mythic Games. Battle huge kaiju miniatures in a city with tall buildings all around. Choose between protectors and destroyers and battle each other while causing havoc everywhere you go. The Battle Royale expansion is what brings the player count to 3 and 4. In similar fashion, also funding now is Damnation, the Gothic game, a competitive battle royale set in a Gothic castle horror setting. For 2 to 6 players, be the last surviving player to win. Take turns exploring deadly rooms of Count Dracula's castle in search of cards to help survive the night. Each character you can play as has unique talents and skills to use. Beware of vampires, ghosts, traps, and of course, other players. From Mixtape Massacre, check out Float from the Deep, an aquatic survival horror tabletop game for 2 to 5 players. It plays in 30 minutes and is set after an explosion has sent your cruise ship sinking to the bottom of the sea. 5 groups of survivors band together in rafts in a 7-day expedition towards the nearest island. However, they must face food and water shortages, treacherous storms, and creatures from below wanting to feed. For more non-cooperative action, how about Thor's Cliff, a game about 4 Viking heroes battle to win the favor of Thor's daughter when ancient forces reawaken. It's a strategy and adventure game featuring 3D landscapes, dice, cards, and minis. Check it out before the campaign ends on December 1st. Marvel Dice Throne is very active on Kickstarter right now and funds through November 15th. Become your favorite Marvel hero in this fast and exhilarating game of skilled card and dice play. Plus, it can be combined with the entire existing Dice Throne universe. Become a wizard in Power Plants, a strategic tile-laying area control game for 1 to 5 players. Add mystical plants to the garden and unleash dynamic magical powers. It plays in 30 minutes and is for ages 8 and up. You'll get to activate one big power of the plant you just placed, or several weaker powers of all the plants next to the one you placed. Use sprites to gather magical plant ingredients that are needed to make potions. King Hill is a new game that mixes worker placement and card battle with engine building aspects. It's for 1 to 2 players and has deep strategy and variable setup for lots of replayability. A lot of the cards remind me of Mage Knight. It looks pretty cool. For something different, check out the social deduction game Hysteria. Keep secrets, change teams, and investigate your neighbors. It plays in 20 minutes for 5 to 9 players. 2 Japanese hidden gem games are funding together for release in the US. Dandelion and something called Psychic Pizza Deliverers Go to the Ghost Town. Both are getting special English edition reprints. Dandelion is a roll and move area majority game that plays in 15 minutes for 2 to 3 players. The Psychic Pizza game is for 3 to 5 players and plays in 30 to 45 minutes, as pizza delivery guys navigate a spooky town, blindly navigating through wormholes, graveyards, and more, fight off ghosts and noisy animals. The game involves a GM player who is the mayor of the town and is the only one who can see the map you're trying to navigate. How about a Chinese Ming Dynasty themed game, Jiangnan, Life of Gentry? Artisans hike and sail across the land in search of inspiration to create the greatest works, gaining the most fame. Will you follow the latest trends or start new ones? It plays in 90 to 120 minutes for 1 to 4 players. It's a worker placement, area control, action tile drafting, and bag building game. Moving on to India, check out the game Karigar-e-Taj, also known as Artisans of the Taj Mahal. Players are artisans racing to build the Taj Mahal, collecting resources, placing workers out to the market, fulfilling blueprint objectives, and building the Taj level by level. It's for ages 14 and up, 2 to 4 players, and the game plays in about 90 minutes. Co-op, spelled with a K, is a new cooperative card game about assembling flat pack furniture with your partner, and definitely not about your collapsing relationship. It's a 2-player game that plays in 25 minutes, and yes, you must take into account your partner's needs. If you haven't earned enough love languages to satisfy each of you by the end of the game, you may not be able to live together with your loved one and the new furniture. A new racing card game is live on Kickstarter called World Auto Racing. Modify your car, use your traits, race, and fight for the win. It's a collectible card game for 2 to 5 players that has you racing through dynamic courses and conditions, and using stat boosting mods. Titania Ascending is on Kickstarter and is a cooperative flip and write game for 2 to 6 players with adjustable difficulty levels with both solo and competitive modes. Manifest the will of Titania, Queen of the Fae, to liberate Gaia as part of her High Council of Sorcerers. Gather your golems and summon your sirens. It plays in 45 minutes. Lastly is Dutch Resistance, Orange Shall Overcome for 1 to 5 players. It's a co-op scenario-based pick up and deliver game about resistance during World War II in the Netherlands. It's historically based and players assume the roles of real members of the Dutch Resistance. There's 4 difficulty levels as well. Asmodee has added 9 new distribution deals for certain games and developers. They'll be distributing the full line of games from Level 99 Games and Remarks Puzzles, Jasco Games, Poptacular, Jason Anarchy Games, B Games LLC, Chessex Manufacturing, Dice Games, and DSS Games, which all have their own new distribution deals with Asmodee, each with varying levels of game exclusivity. Endless Games was just acquired by Goliath Games LLC, which is their 11th global acquisition in 7 years. Operating from New Jersey, Endless Games has created a number of party games like the Jeopardy card game and Wheel of Fortune card game. The market research group NPD will be sold to a private equity firm named Hellman and Friedman. NPD tracks retail sales and releases tons of industry data for public use. In addition to board games, NPD tracks toys and games in general, books, and more. Meanwhile, Yellow Games from France has severed ties with Yellow USA and the COO. They're rethinking their distribution chain and will terminate the US agreement at the end of the year. Just 8 days after the Paizo employees formed their own labor union, Paizo has officially and voluntarily recognized it. The company stated they will work with them and make efforts to make it a better place to work. The first goal of the union will be to increase wages to match the actual cost of living. In-person Yu-Gi-Oh! Events will return in January, according to Konami Digital Entertainment, after a nearly 2-year break. The first event will be in Pasadena over 2 days, capped at 2,000 competitors. Magic the Gathering sales in the first 3 quarters this year beat out overall sales from the whole year of 2020. The Wizards of the Coast and digital gaming segment Q3 sales were up 32% over Q3 of 2020, a total of $360.2 million. Now let's talk new game announcements from the past 2 weeks. Video game developer Square Enix has announced for pre-order Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood board game. Coming in April, it's a co-op game where players get to be characters from the series, trying to complete the reverse transmutation circle to counter Homunculus's countrywide transmutation circle. It includes a solo mode and 3 difficulty levels. Another IP getting to the table is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The Turtle Power card game uses the 80s cartoon art style and has players competing against each other to power up their team to face off against Krang. The Op developed it and it's now available for $10. Steamforged Games announced 2 new major expansions for their Horizon Zero Dawn board game based on the video game. Both new titles are coming December 3rd for $54.95. Soldiers of the Sun is set in Sundom and lets players hunt with the Karja people, who bring their own skills, abilities, and equipment. It includes the 80mm Behemoth Mini. Forge and Hammer takes place in the Claim, where the Oseram tribe lives. They provide new equipment to use in fighting 4 new types of enemies: Chargers, Lancehorns, Glinthawks, and Ravagers. A relaunch of the 1989 Dungeon Bowl from Games Workshop was announced, coming soon. It's part fantasy, part football, and part dungeon crawler. Set in an underground dungeon built with modular tiles, players must score by finding the treasure chest where the ball is located. Also, avoid dungeon-style traps and challenges, and use your magic and constructed team to the best effect. The original Legacy board game Risk Legacy is getting a sequel after 10 years. It's a new Legacy game called Risk Shadow Forces, taking place in 2050. Battle and shadow conflict across the world while humanity is dealing with harsh climate change, diseases, and factions vying for an energy source to give them massive power. 3 to 5 players will lead factions and open sealed envelopes as the campaign progresses, directed by the game's narrative. The Arkham Horror card game is getting a new scenario pack called Machinations Through Time, where the detectives must fix a ripple in reality, breaking the timeline of past, present, and future. Fight against minions of Tindalos in this standalone co-op scenario, or by adding it to a campaign. From Garp Hill Games and creators of the North Sea and West Kingdom games comes a new trilogy of games called the South Tigris Trilogy, set in Golden Age Baghdad. They will follow the same art style and historical governance themes, and add dice mechanisms to the gameplay. The first to come is Wayfarers of the South Tigris next year, followed by Scholars of the South Tigris and Inventors of the South Tigris, each released 1 year after the other. Each will have a Kickstarter campaign. From Keep Exploring Games comes a new title this January called Ice Flows and Foes. Rescue seals and whales from hunters and fishermen in an icy sea. Push around the board to force them off the edge without knocking the animals off. The ice pieces are all shaped uniquely, which means they shift unpredictably. It was funded through Kickstarter last summer and will deliver next year. The social deduction game Secret Hitler has a new expansion featuring a communist team made by fans. It was shared via Reddit and adds more roles and a higher player count than the original 10-person game. It's called Secret Hitler XL and supports up to 20 players. Another popular social deduction game is getting an upgrade in the form of Ultimate Werewolf Extreme. Coming November 17th, it adds new roles and allows for up to 75 players playing at once across 3 villages. There's 88 role cards now. It will retail for $24.95. Coming in December is Beware of Bears, the card game from Boss Dog Games. Players will walk through forest paths inhabited by aggressive bears. Draw and play cards to extend your path, or do other actions like making players reveal cards in their forest or rearrange their cards out. Make a path of 8 cards to win, or force the other players to lose 3 lives by encountering bears. From Thunderworks, check out 10 Penny Parks for a bright worker placement game about building your own theme park. Coming in March, the game plays in 5 rounds and has players using workers to perform tasks like clearing land, constructing rides, and more. Parks are rated each round for thrill, awe, and joy. It's for 1 to 4 players ages 14 and up, playing in about an hour, expected to retail for $59.95. The party game Telestrations is getting an expansion pack called the 80s and 90s, which will add pop culture references from these decades to the game. It can be used with the core game and any of its versions. Telestrations has players first drawing pictures from a prompt, then passing to the next player who must write what they think is going on. It goes back and forth until it makes it back around, and you get to see how crazy and different the last interpretation was from the original prompt. Lucky Duck Games has a mature horror game for 18 and up called The Dark Quarter, getting a fundraising campaign in the first quarter next year. It's for 1 to 4 players and is set in a modern-day police station. Players are investigators, just like in Chronicles of Crime, working cooperatively to gather clues and solve crimes using both physical components and the digital app. It will focus heavily on narrative progression and character development. On the Meeple Mentor YouTube channel, Jay and I released a new podcast episode where we discussed our pick together for the best space-themed board game. We were asked to defend a game of our choice against 4 others as part of a podcast for Friday Night Games. They wanted us to record our responses to several questions in preparation for a debate that they're hosting. We decided to do it all as an episode for our podcast, so you'll be able to hear our defense before the showdown. Jay had a new Jay's Takeaways video come out where he discussed briefly the Quacks of Quedlinburg. It's a very popular push-your-luck bag-building game. I recently received the retail version of Rescuing Robin Hood from Castillo Games, so I recorded and uploaded the unboxing for it. I was able to make the full tutorial for the game using a prototype last year as part of their Kickstarter campaign. Now, it's cool to see it in its final form. The latest board game tutorial video I published was for the excellent and popular worker placement game Stone Age. It's most famous for having a sex hut in the game, so if you haven't tried it, you're missing out. I'm currently writing a tutorial script for Carcassonne and will be working on that in the coming weeks. And I just finished recording and editing the tutorial for Excavation Earth by Mighty Boards. That is planned to be the next tutorial to come out on the channel. And yes, I teach the solo mode. That's about all for now. Thanks for tuning in to today's news update. I appreciate your support, and remember, teach when you can, but always be learning. See you next time.